mentors are hard to come by. Yeah, sometimes if you want Gary Vaynerchuk or Tony Robbins to be your mentor, you're going to have to pay them a lot of money because they're, at the top of the game right now. But there's a lot of people that want to share their wisdom with you because they want to see you succeed. If you're hungry, you got a work ethic, and you're passionately curious, you're going to have some people who will just hang out with you for 20 minutes or half an hour and pour into you. But the result they want is that you go out and you take action with what they shared with you.
Welcome to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast, your source for real-world strategies focused on creating long-term wealth, cash flow, and financial freedom through real estate. Through guidance, tips, and stories of highly successful real estate investors and thought leaders, we provide you the tools to succeed and reach the lifestyle you always wanted. And now your host, Dwaine Clarke.
Hello and welcome to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast. This is your host, Dwaine Clarke, and today we have a very special guest. Rock Thomas is a Canadian real estate mogul, motivational speaker, trainer, best-selling author of 3 books, life coach, and serial entrepreneur. We're very blessed to have him here today. How you doing today, Rock, and how's your day?
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. I'm very blessed, like you say, and feel very, very grateful. I think gratitude is a muscle that I like to exercise, and so really feeling great.
Absolutely. You have a very interesting backstory. I've been kind of learning more and more about you. I first heard about you through Tony Robbins, which I heard from Dan Kennedy. I've been kind of like learning from a lot of different marketing gurus, Zig Ziglar, and your name came up. So I started kind of learning a little bit more about you. And you have a very deep backstory. If you don't mind, for our guests or people who are not familiar with you, just kind of go a little about your background and your current focus.
Yeah, for sure. I guess the farm boy to financially free is kind of what I'm known for, and the ability to have gone from a situation that was not favorable to a situation today that most would consider, I think, favorable. And how did I get there is the interesting part. And I really believe that there are certain characteristics that you have the opportunity to grow or not grow while you're going through adversity. And if you don't have the guidance or skill set or the hunger or a few essentials, then you're not going to get there. You're going to become a victim. You're going to become bitter. You're going to become cynical. You're going to probably be broke, fat, diabetic, overweight, and divorced, because statistically, most people are in that place. So I was fortunate that I came across a mentor, Dwaine, in my late 20s. I spent the first 20 years of my life working hard on a farm and also working very hard in the real world, driving a taxi, working in a bar, painting fences, whatever I could get. And I was on a track to get ahead, but I never would have been to the place I am today because a mentor came along. He says, Rock, you're working hard. You're not working smart. And putting in those 14, 16-hour days was getting me ahead, but it wasn't going to make me wealthy. So he brought me into the fold of real estate. I was actually in real estate for a year. I sold 1 home. I was a terrible salesperson. I was used to working with goats and 2x4s. And I didn't have of the skills that were required to relate to people, create rapport, help them make a decision, influence, inspire, ask the right questions, and all those types of things, which, by the way, are a skill. They're a learnable skill. And when I discovered that success is primarily, driven by learnable skills, I became a voracious student. And I started to devour books and go to seminars and find mentors and hire coaches, and spent $2 million so far on trying to become the best version of myself. I gave $2,000 to Butch Harmon, who taught Tiger Woods for 20 minutes of his time, $100,000 to Tony Robbins, so I could spend some time with him, and a whole ream of other people. The list goes on and on and on. And eventually I went from selling 1 home a year to 100. And then I bought the company I was working for. I ended up taking it from 94 agents to 270 and selling it for $4 million, retiring. And then I came back, I did it all over again. And now I have a bunch of different streams of revenue, flipping homes, Airbnb, investing in the stock market, affiliate products I sell for other people. The list goes on and on and on.
You had mentioned mentors, which is a big thing for me starting out, who didn't really have a mentor. I kind of found mentor through books. You had mentioned a lot of educational stuff. I remember back in the days, I call automobile university, where I'll just get these audiobooks and start putting stuff in, and it slowly started changing my mindset. But I was still hanging around, my friends who would go out partying and kind of, didn't really have any, direction in life. Can you kind of touch on, as far as your circle of influence, as far as like how big of an impact is it? And for people who was in my similar situation, how they can slowly get out of it?
There may be nothing more important, because your words become your truth, and you speak the words of the people around you because you want to be in rapport. One of the desires of the human spirit is to connect, belong, and matter. So what do? If you are in school and you don't connect, belong, and matter, some kids get a gun and come back and shoot people for that very reason. But when you do find a group that you resonate with, you will become like them. Problem is, if they're average, struggling, bad with money, they're not go-getters, you're going to reduce or lower your standards to fit in, because fitting in is part of the human equation. So what I did was, I went out, when I went to seminars, when I read books, I would go to these people at the end of their talk and find out how I could spend time with them, hire them as a coach, go to another one of their events. And I would look around the room for the people that looked the most switched on, the most alert, the most aware, the hungriest, asked questions, participated, and I would become friends with them. And slowly I built my peer group out. I would also seek out people that had a result that I wanted. So in real estate, I sought out the people that were most successful, and I asked if I could hang out with them. I'd go get them coffee. I'd pick up their dry cleaning. I mean, I would do anything just to be in earshot of their conversations and brain. And eventually it started to rub off on me. And I've just followed that pattern ever since. And people think that mentors are hard to come by. Yeah, sometimes if you want Gary Vaynerchuk or Tony Robbins to be your mentor, you're going to have to pay them a lot of money, because they're at the top of the game right now. But there's a lot of people that want to share their wisdom with you because they want to see you succeed. If you're hungry, you got a work ethic, and you're passionately curious, you're going to have some people who will just hang out with you for 20 minutes or half an hour and pour into you. But the result they want is that you go out and you take action with what they shared with you.
Yeah, just kind of go a little bit further. I was reading more about your background, and like I said, I found you through Tony Robbins, that you're also an NLP practitioner as well. Would you mind kind of sharing what that is for the audience and how that can help people?
Yeah, so there's a relationship that we have with words. And I'd like to tell people, the words that follow I am follow you. In other words, what you say you are becomes your truth. It becomes your reality. It becomes what you're going to do. If you say, I am an athlete, I am a triathlete, I am a swimmer, and you don't do those things, your brain is going to go, dude, you're not. So you're going to then have to change that dialogue. Some of us have, used to be a football player, and then we injured our knee, and now we're not anymore. We play chess. So, you don't go, yeah, I'm a football player, when you've been playing chess for 10 years. But most of the labels that we've gotten, Dwaine, that were given to us as children are disempowering labels that we continue to live through. And so I just became aware that hanging around people that would support, encourage, and challenge me, being conscious of my inner narrative, changing the dialogue. My brother used to call me pizza face because I had so much acne. And when I learned that you could change a label from disempowering to empowering by simply programming yourself, I chose a role model, which is a really good thing to do, somebody that you admire. And I thought, how would that person talk to themselves? So I chose Clint Eastwood. And I said, would he call himself pizza face, loser, skinny, bone dog? I don't think so. So I came up with the phrase, and I made it up in my head, but you can do that. I said, he calls himself ruggedly handsome. And I just repeated that to myself until my mind started to get grasp of the new concept. And you can do it with any concept. I went from working hard to working smart. I went from struggling agent to the #1 agent. I went from employee to entrepreneur. I went from somebody who was shy and introverted to a public speaker. I went from somebody who was dyslexic to somebody who's written 3 books. So It's a matter of programming. It's a matter of effort. And it's a matter of getting really, really clear on what you want, because you can language yourself into it. And that's what NLP is all about, is being super vigilant to the inner narrative and how you're talking to yourself, because words become your world.
What would be kind of like the first step to kind of start that process? Because, some people go to a seminar, they get really fired up. They may start it for a week and then kind of things kind of teeter off, or kind of they fall off the edge. I know, like, kind of the consistency and stuff. And sometimes just based off the environment, like you're home and like you're there at that point and you're hoping to get to the next level or shift things around. But what will be kind of the first step before you can maybe, because everything can't change all at the same time,
So the solution to that is actually to join a mastermind group of peers that have the same values as you. And I've been a trainer for Tony Robbins for 17 years. I've done 74 events. I've seen people come back, not change 2 years later or worse off. And what happened is that they got a bit of a formula or a recipe for success. You can change your state. You walked on fire. Talk to yourself differently. They go home and they say to their friend, hey, dude, man, I just came back from the seminar. It was really awesome. I'm going to buy some real estate. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to get in shape. I'm a ripped athletic machine. I'm ruggedly handsome. And their loser friend goes, dude, no, you're not. You've never done anything with your life. Who are you kidding, man? Let's go have a beer. Like, what's wrong with you? So they're not able to overcome that. Partially because they're in the wrong environment, but partially because they haven't exercised the muscle of being super clear on what they want and not letting other people stop them. So what I did 6 years ago is I looked all over the world for a peer group that would push me, that would encourage me, that would celebrate with me. And I couldn't find the right one, so I created one. 6 guys got together, and then after a while, what we did is we invited our best friends, our baddest ass friends. And then we were 17, and then we were 33, and then we grew until now we're over 1,000. And we've divided the mastermind group into different levels, depending on whether you're a millionaire, 5 million, 10 million, whether you're married or single. We just have different factions because you want to be in the group that you resonate with, because you want to matter, you want to belong, and you want to make a difference. So you come to the group to learn from the people around you. We have a curriculum that is based on success principles. And we've created 41 millionaires. And we have a whole slew of multimillionaires that mentor the other individuals that are coming up through the ranks.
And that's is that the M1 program?
Yeah, the M1 program is those aspiring to be a millionaire. GoAbundance is the one where you're a millionaire and up. And we have champions that are 10 million and up. So it's just kind of grown into something amazing. And I can honestly tell you, I've never seen anything like it. The transformation is phenomenal. We've had people that tried to lose weight their entire life. They're 48 and now they've lost 100 pounds. So through the positive peer pressure, through the systems and models that we use, that, let's face it, it's not just me, it's all of us collectively as a mastermind that have said, okay, what works, what doesn't work, and how do you make it better? And when you do that on a continual basis, you come up with the recipe of success for your emotions, for your investments, for tracking things. You're held accountable, you're pushed. It just works.
Yeah, you had mentioned that was very powerful, that all of this is skill set. Everything can be learned. You mentioned that you're writing a book, you're a public speaker, you're introverted. It's like, that's how my whole thing is, like, everything can be taught and be, absorbed, and you can be able to do it. So it's just really just the mindset that's there. And then kind of leading in towards that with this mastermind and peer group of financial freedom. Everybody's, of course, the goal of, creating financial freedom, passive income, lifetime legacy wealth, income. Can you kind of touch on the importance of that and kind of like what your mentorship program and maybe just some of your teachings can help others achieve that?
Yeah, that's a great point. So what we found is that most people don't get what they want for the simple reason is they don't know what they want. They're listening to the media, they're listening to commercialization, they're told by their parents to go get a degree, they're told by their teacher not to take this course, and they end up actually doing often things that make them money or some money, but won't make them fulfilled or happy. So what we do is we go through several assessments and we decide where are you at, what are your gifts, what is your skill set, and then what's the gap to get you so that you can be a high achiever. Let's face it, some people are really, really good, naturally hungry, curious learners, and other people are like, I thought school stopped after university. So we entice them, encourage them to become passionately curious, and then they all of a sudden realize that there's a whole bunch they don't know. Or for some people, they are afraid to ask for things in life. They think it's not polite. They don't negotiate. They're not the type of person, they get a warm soup at the restaurant, it's not hot, and they, I don't want to bother them, I don't want to turn it back. And they start to settle for what the world gives them instead of having the pride, the dignity, and the wherewithal to demand for what they deserve in life. So when we start to work on those things, what we found is that you have a ripple effect to other parts of your life. If you ask for the hot soup at the restaurant, you're also going to ask for the guy to clean your car properly when he missed a spot. You're going to ask for the order when you're doing business. You're going to negotiate the price when you go to a hotel or on the airlines or buying a car, because you're now somebody that has pride in who you are. So the skill sets, it's amazing. You know, being a leader is a skill set. Being a better asker is a skill set. You could argue that when you're born asking all the time and screaming for it, but eventually some people stop asking and they start to become timid in their life and they end up being at the back of the line. And we teach people, get to the front of the line, be confident. And when you do that, the rest of your life changes. And it's so satisfying going to watch people actually step into their own power, because then people can become alive versus numb. And, you know, today in the world, people have addictions. Food is the biggest addiction. I'm on a 7-day cleanse right now. I'm on my 3rd day just drinking juice. I feel phenomenal. People are like, you're not dead? Like, no, I'm not dead. You don't have to eat as much as the food companies try to teach you to eat. Other people have porn addictions or gambling, or just take gossip and complaining. How much time do people spend gossiping and complaining because they don't like their life? You're not going to get further in your life gossiping and complaining, are you? No. So when we create that clear vision for what they want, we walk them through the process and we power that with the reasons and the consequences if they don't take the action. And then we provide the environment where they can practice and hone that. People have this accelerated success, and it's awesome.
Awesome. And so one thing I also wanted to ask you, it's a little bit a different topic, is you have a principle that you teach is the 5 fundamentals of financial freedom. Would you kind of talk about that and kind of elaborate on those as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first thing, of course, is you have to find a way to make money. And you could make it by getting a job, but you could also make it by having a book or an online product. There's millions of ways. You can rent a room. My mother's 85. She rents a room for Airbnb at a little house I bought her, and she makes $62.50 a night, and she bought herself a Honda Civic. And she's so proud, and she gets to meet people, and it's exciting for her. She's more alive. So there's many different ways that you can create revenue. So the first thing is, let's focus on your ability to create revenue and your desire to create revenue. The second thing is you got to manage your money. If you make $100,000 and you spend 110 like most people, it's not going to take long before you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're bitter and you're strapped and you have less choices. So we teach people to manage. I know it sounds boring, but successful people manage the numbers in their life. The number of sales, the number of their weight, the different things. You can't improve what you don't measure. So once you start doing that, you can get excited about it, because when you put focus on things, it gets exciting because you can make progress, and progress people like to do. So imagine you're making $100,000. Then we create some consciousness around that. You Airbnb a room in your house, or you Turo your car, or you pick up birds or limes and you recharge them, or you find a way to make more money. You go to 120. You were spending $100,000 a year, but we show you to do a budget, and you realize that you're eating out a lot, that you're wasting your money, and that you're casual, and you had some subscriptions you're not paying, you're not using, and you drop your expenses down to 80,000. You now have $40,000 of savings where before you had none. What are you going to do with that? Well, now you have to start thinking about investing it. So we call it MMI, make, manage, invest. And once you get some education around investing, which means, you might not be great at it initially. So you got to get some knowledge and you got to practice and hang around other people that can tell you what to do and not to do. Right now, I'm purchasing homes in Detroit, and we believe that Detroit is at its rock bottom or near. So there's a high risk to it. But buying homes for $10,000 or $15,000 and renting them out for $750 or $1,000 is good cash flow. And the upside is that probably in the next 5 years, those homes could be worth $50,000. So we can get our money out by refinancing them and just keep on flipping and turning and flipping and turning, right? So that's an investment, but you got to get some knowledge. I have partners that have done it. They had 2 of their houses that were burned down. It's not the easiest environment to go in. There's high risk, but there's high what? Reward.
Yep.
But I got knowledgeable around it and partook in it. I do Airbnb in Vegas and in Phoenix. It works incredibly well because those are markets where people are transitory. So you start to get knowledgeable there by hanging around with people, and then you start to make good investments, and now your $40,000 is working for you, and your money is going to work hard for you while you're working at your job or in your business. The other 2, I won't get into in great detail, but basically it's about protecting your money. And we talk about incorporating, we talk about wills and trusts and all the pieces that are your defense that are going to have you protecting what you've created. Most people never get into that, Dwaine, because they have no money to protect. You're like, oh, let me write a will. I'm broke. I have no money. There's no point in spending $1,000 with a lawyer or notary to write a will to say that you can get my debt. I'll give it to the government. So the problem with that is that people start to accumulate wealth. They get busy with their kids and stuff like that, and then they forget to take care of those things. And some of those things taken care of in advance, like life insurance, there's a huge upside to doing it when you're younger, because the insurance companies knows that, there's a high chance you won't die in the first few years. So they charge you very little to be covered. So we give people strategies that the wealthy use so that you can make, you can manage, you can invest, you can protect, and you can create your wealth empire.
So like you kind of have all of those systems in place, but then now you kind of have to put them together. There's a thing that you also talk about as far as like kind of like your routines and, planning ahead and kind of your day-to-day schedules and stuff. That's really big for me. I have a brokerage. I'm a syndicator. I do all the different types of projects, and sometimes it get overwhelming. And if I don't have like my calendar to the T, like everything falls apart. And I also have my wife put in the little projects he wants me to do to make sure everything is there. So can you kind of touch on like your morning routine and kind of how do you plan your day when you started? I know you do a little bit of different things that's different from the other people that's out there. That's very unique, and I'd love to hear about that.
You have done your homework on me.
I try.
So I think the morning routine, buy the Miracle Morning and learn about a morning routine. The first hour is about the power of your day, setting intention, moving your body, doing meditation, journaling, visualizing, eating properly, and basically getting yourself ready to go to battle, whatever that is for you. Don't wake up last minute and then be harried and run around. You ever seen a professional golfer show up 2 minutes before their tee time? Never. Unless there's the plane crashed or almost did. You never see a baseball player show up 2 minutes before he's supposed to start. Everybody shows up hours before and they get themselves ready and they stretch and all that sort of thing. If you're not doing that first thing in the morning, giving yourself an hour, half an hour, if you're like super, can't, then you'll never play to your potential during the day ever. I don't care what you say. All the successful people that I've studied, and I've studied thousands of them, have a routine or ritual in the morning that serves them to get their mind right and their body right, period. So you got to figure that out and do that. And we teach that in detail, take a deep dive on it. The second piece that I think even some successful people don't do to the degree that they could is what I call the Sunday system for success. It's 7-step process to lay out your week, reverse engineer it, resource it, emotionalize it, so that people that are showing up in their harried week show up to an appointment and they can still hit a home run every single time. You see, the problem is that people get overwhelmed. They live in emotions of overwhelm, anxiety, and fear because why? They have an important presentation on Tuesday morning. But on Monday night, they decide to watch 5 hours of Game of Thrones because they get caught up in the moment, they're stressed, they're tired, or it just feels good. And then they wake up late the next morning, they're harried around the house, they drop the honey jar on the dog, then they got to clean the dog, and then there's no coffee left, and then they run out with the kids, they're yelling at the kids, they get in the car, there's not enough gas in the car, and they're living now, oh my God, I got to stop for gas, I'm going to be late for the presentation, I'm freaked out, I'm not prepared. And then they start to do what? They make excuses. They lower the standards of the whole process. They come into me, I'm so sorry, you won't believe it. Do people want to hear that? Do your clients want to hear that you dropped the honey on the dog, that you ran out of gas? They don't.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, they're probably losers you don't want to do business with, or they're just really great at creating rapport. What people want is they want value. And if you're in the business of making a lot of money and having choices, having freedom, you create value. I'm sure with your syndications, you create value. You don't walk up, go to your clients and go, oh, I don't have all the numbers. Let's just kind of go this way. We'll wing it. I'll try to get you a good return. This one looks pretty good. Let's try it. I'm pretty sure you're probably detailed. You have a great presentation. You're reliable. You show up, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you create the value. And therefore, people want to invest with you in a project. So the Sunday system for success is about saying, hey, being aware, taking note, where am I not working out so well, which is done with a daily audit. Every night, I ask myself, what's great about this? What did I do great? What could I have done better? How do I improve? And I take an audit, just like athletes and professionals do. And they go, wow, I was harried. I didn't have gas in the car. I woke up late. Oh my God, I stayed up watching 5 hours of Game of Thrones. That wasn't really very intelligent when I had a big presentation the next day. I didn't know I had a big presentation the next day because I didn't do the Sunday system for success, which I would have known. So by taking an hour and a half on Sunday and going through those steps, I guarantee you, I promise you, people tell me again and again, it saves them 10 hours a week and they're better emotionally and they feel more confident.
Mm. And then what about like kind of the importance of like gratitude? I know for me, my purpose is, my family, my kids, my legacy. Is that something that that's extremely important? I know that you kind of digress as far as in the Sundays moving forward, but you can't get to that place if you have like no meaning for it.
Yeah. So the first thing we actually do in the Sunday system for success is we reflect on the last week. And we're incredibly grateful for the effort we put in, for the results that we got, for the things that we did. And to me, gratitude, and you're making this really easy for me, is a weapon of mass destruction. And the destruction I'm talking about is to the negative feelings. When you change your expectations for appreciation, it's because you're focusing on what you have, not what you don't have. And you could pull out all the cliches. Oprah says that you can't have more until you appreciate what you have. So gratitude's just exercising the power of your focus by asking questions. What do I love about my house? What do I love about my car? What do I love about my job? What do I love about the people around me? What do I love? What do I appreciate? How lucky am I that I get to work on myself and I get to do so in the comfort of this beautiful home with air conditioning? Oh my God, like I am so blessed. And you whip yourself into a frenzy, you start to feel so good that it creates energy. Emotions are designed to create energy, either up or down. So I love to practice the highest emotions I can. And when I'm doing really well, it's joy and cheerfulness and playfulness and creativity and excitement and flexibility and adaptability. And then I'm super, super productive. I wouldn't be able to have 37 streams of income or 400 people working my organizations if I wasn't able to manage my own state by asking myself great questions and most of the time being grateful. In fact, I'm grateful for my problems. I'm grateful for my challenges. It gives me an opportunity to become a better version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you had mentioned like you have a large organization, you touch a lot of people. I just wanted to kind of ask you about Goalcast, where you it's just this huge platform, for motivation and leadership and kind of empowerment and being a better version of yourself. Can you kind of touch on that platform and kind of, what it do for people?
Well, Goalcast, basically what they do is they look for heart-wrenching stories and they chronicle them in a video with Be Real and music. And you get to tell your story of, the hero's journey. The hero's journey is simply about overcoming adversity. And the bigger the adversity, the better the hero. So when people are like, oh, I just want my life to be easy and I don't want to do that. I want to work those evenings and I don't want to work out. I'm not in the mood. What you're doing is you're not giving yourself a chance to be your own hero. Now, sometimes the circumstances give you the chance to be a hero without your request, right? Mm-hmm. So you break your leg, but you're the father with 3 kids and you still have to get stuff done and you find a way to limp around the house and you're a hero. But anybody that wants to live an epic life, what I found, what they do is that they set lofty goals, huge goals that force them to become a hero in their own world. So I want a jet. So in order to have a jet, you've got to have a reasonable amount of money. And in order to do that, I have to add a lot of value in the marketplace. So I'm not quite there yet. I could probably buy one, but then I would have to make some other choices that I don't want to make at this point in time. But I've got that jet on my wall and it's going to happen in the next 12 months. So to me, it excites me to create that little hero's journey. Now people might be going, oh, it was a jet. I'm just trying to pay my bills, man. I'm trying to make my first investment. Well, you got to start where you're at. I'm 56. Mm-hmm. If you're 32 or 31 when I was broke and in debt for $30,000, well then, and you got more than the debt of 30,000, you're ahead of where I was when you started the race. So I really believe that you can get excited about your obstacles and put big ones in front of you to force yourself to grow and to make your life exciting and amazing.
And then what about kind of like patience, you have to implement these systems. Things are not going to happen overnight. Like you said, you're in your 50s now, and then in your 30s, you're a total different spot. As far as like kind of like that patience of kind of getting things going and then just waiting for those opportunities to come, but you're doing the right things. Can you kind of attest to that?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's find a mentor, model them until you become a master. And you got to realize that the fast way of getting rich is the slow way. It's about planting seeds and then nurturing those seeds and harvesting them later. I bought a building in 1999 for $781,000, and I'm just now making plans to tear it down and turn it into a 4-story where it'll have 98,000 square feet instead of the 11,000 it has right now, and it should be worth about 30 million by the time I'm done. I bought it for 781 now 19 years ago. When I bought it, it was the most difficult thing I ever did. I had to scrape together $150,000. I didn't know what I was doing. I was freaked out and afraid. Somehow got creative financing. The bank didn't want to lend me money. I got convinced the owner to give me a second mortgage. I mean, it was like the hardest thing for me to do. I didn't sleep every night probably for a year. But man, when you make, it says that in The Millionaire Next Door, you make that calculated risk and you have the courage to go in, man, it pays a dividend over time. Mm-hmm. So you've got to think long-term. You're in real estate. You understand that. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. And you will become wealthy. Start early, start fast if you can, but just get a property and then get another property. And I'm sure they're learning from you that, after a few years, you can refinance, pull some money out, buy another property, and you just keep on going like that. And that's the way you do it. And if you go back to my MMI, the more money you make and the less you spend initially, the more money you have to invest, the more money you can put to work. If you want a high lifestyle, I mean, Robert Kiyosaki talks about it. You want to go buy yourself, a Maserati? Great. Get yourself first an Aplex that throws off enough money to pay for the Maserati. Mm-hmm. So that you're not buying an asset that's depreciating, but you're buying an asset that's increasing, that's paying for your depreciating asset, if that's what you want.
Mm. Absolutely. Rock, you gave us some excellent tips. Like I said, it's wonderful because we have a lot of entrepreneurs as well as the real estate investors that's listening on the show. For people who want to kind of get in touch with you, learn more about your programs, follow you at your next speaking or seminar, how do we find out and how we get in touch with you?
Yeah, rockthomas.com is the best way. Go to the site. They'll get a free copy of my book, Power of Your Identity, and they can start to shape their identity. You know, it's like I literally have a saying is, I am a ripped athletic machine. And therefore, I want to behave that way. Most people, if you ask them who they are, they don't know. They don't know consciously. Mm-hmm. They have a description for themselves. Like they say, oh yeah, I'm just a procrastinator. Or you want to go swimming? No, I'm not a swimmer. They have it in reaction. What I'm talking about is purposefully creating and designing it and then leaning and stepping into it. And when you do that, it's a remarkable transformation. Remarkable. You'll access dormant resources you never knew you had. So get that book on all social media platforms. You can find me. And if you want to send me a personal message, you can do that through that. And of course, you can go to gom1.com if you want to learn more about our mastermind group. You have to apply, you have to be interviewed and stuff like that. It's not for everybody. It's a substantial investment, but you know, you get what you pay for. And if you're really, for the people that are really serious, my experience has been when you explain to them the opportunity, successful people say yes and make it happen. And struggling people, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. I don't know if I have the time. Successful people are like, yeah, I'm in. Mm-hmm. I got invited to the mastermind group that created these mastermind groups. The guy who was a multimillionaire, he was a speaker. I spoke to him afterwards. And he said, well, a bunch of us are getting together. Do you want to come over in 5 months to my place in Steamboat? We'll ski and we'll hang out and we'll mastermind. I'm like, yeah. I didn't ask how much it cost. I didn't say, where am I going to be sleeping? Because we'll all hang out in the house and we'll bring a chef and we'll, throw some money in a pot. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Ended up being $750, probably the best $750 I spent for 3 days. But successful people see opportunities and they lean into them. And struggling people are afraid because they haven't developed their own confidence, because probably they're not doing things that are difficult. If you do in life what is difficult, life will be easy. Mm-hmm. If you do what is easy and if you do what is safe and you do what you're comfortable with, you're going to eventually be uncomfortable. So there you got it, buddy.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Awesome advice. Again, rockthomas.com. Get a copy of his book. Check out some of his seminar. But yeah, really appreciate it. Some awesome advice and look forward to connecting with you soon. I really appreciate you talking with us and have a great rest of the day.
My pleasure, buddy. Great talking with you.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or the listening platform of your choice. Also, please check us out at DwaineLClarke.com, as well as find us on Facebook for more useful content and resources.